Good. Welcome, Bruce. I've heard you say that conscious evolution is our alternative to mass extinction. So please tell us more about the evolutionary crisis we're facing right now. And most important of all, what viable solutions do you see on the horizon for evolving our global consciousness beyond separation and cohering and behaving as one unified field working together?
Okay. Science has been telling us for 15 years that we're facing a mass extinction. This is not the first one. This is actually called the sixth mass extinction event on this planet. 5 times in the history of this planet, life was thriving, and some cataclysmic event upended the web of life, and up to 90% of life disappeared. And this happened 5 times in the past. Well, we're facing what is called the sixth mass extinction. And the significance about this one is that the previous mass extinctions, natural events, the last one, 66 million years ago, was a comet that hit near the Yucatan Peninsula, a giant comet. It upended the web of life. All the dinosaurs disappeared. 75% of life totally disappeared from the planet. And we built it all back up. And now today, science is actually not today, for 15 years, science has been telling us that we're facing the sixth mass extinction. But the most profound fact about this is that it's caused by human behavior. And all of a sudden I go, well, wait a minute, we're causing our own extinction. I go, yes, we are. We are undermining the web of life. We're living out of harmony with the planet. Some kind of foolish idea that humans are separate from the web of life has actually permeated our consciousness that says, oh, well, we're separate and nature is separate. And I go, oh, big mistake, folks. We are nature. And if nature goes down, humans go down. And we're facing this right now, and it says human behavior is doing it. I say, so what is the consequence? I say, well, there's two choices on the road just split. And the road said, well, one, just continue what you're doing and enjoy it because it's coming to an end, not in 1,000 years. Even NASA scientists have said that within the next couple of decades, industrial civilization, the one we're in, is facing, and I really want to underscore it, an irreversible collapse. That means it's going down and it's not coming back. The whole idea, let's make it great again. Well, that great again has caused this problem. And so let's don't do that again. So that's the other track that says we're at the crossroads. You got a choice. And I say, well, if you continue what you're doing, we already know the destination. The other track is what? We have to change human behavior so that humans start to live in harmony with this planet. And I go, relevance to that is, well, culture is a whole set of defined behaviors that we accommodate, all of us collectively agree on. And I say, so what's the relevance? I say, well, the culture we're in is the cause of the problem. So I said, then what's the consequence? I said, then we need another culture. And I go, well, what does that mean? And I go, well, the first thing is this: the existing culture has to collapse to build a new culture on the way up. You cannot sustain ourselves by building a culture on today's foundation, because it's the cultural foundation that is the cause of the problem. Or can we do this? So we're facing an extinction because of our behavior. The only solution, of course, is at some level we have to change the behavior, not wait for the planet to do anything. We're the cause of the problem. We're living out of harmony. And all of a sudden, why this is so important to me and emphatic is that evolution is not something that we're just going to stay in the house and then one day we open the door and go, oh, look, evolution just happened out here. I go, no, we are the participants to manifest evolution. So it's not a passive event at all. Evolution is an active event. And what's really also important about this, because when people think of evolution, they say, oh, a new organism, so a new thing is going to manifest. And I go, well, a new thing is going to manifest, but it's not a change in our biology. It's not even a change in our genetics. What's a change of? It's a change in our consciousness. And this is why our book, Spontaneous Evolution, was important. It didn't just talk about it's all coming down. It's talking about, well, we're building something going up. And Elaine Parke's book on the 12 habits is a fundamental contribution because she emphasizes something very critical. I said, this is not a passive evolution. This is a participatory evolution. And if it is, then I say, well, then what should I do as a practice to make sure I'm conforming to the idea of creating a more holistic world where we are in harmony and balance with nature. And I say, well, that means we have to do stuff. And it's really wonderful because in Elaine Parke's book, it says, yeah, as a participant, here are some things you should be doing. And so this is a great guide for us to help us in this time of transition. And I'll just give a simple analogy, and then I'll try to stop the answer for this very short question that has turned into 2 days worth of talk. But here's the short answer. I'll give an analogy. And the analogy is this. A caterpillar is one of the most voracious organisms on this planet. Caterpillar lands on its plant, it's going to eat every damn leaf off of that plant, and very fast. They just strip the damn things down. But guess what? They then deplete the environment. There's no more leaves. Now what? And the answer is then that caterpillar goes into what is called a cocoon. I say, so, okay, what's going on here? I say, once it's devoured all of its available resources, then the caterpillar can't grow anymore. And if it can't grow anymore, what does it do? It wraps itself in a cocoon. And I say, so what's going on in the cocoon? I say, well, the cells in that caterpillar, millions and millions of cells, they're citizens in the caterpillar. Just as we have 50 trillion cells making us, the caterpillar has millions of cells. But every cell is like a miniature human. All the functions of the cells are the same functions that we have. And I go, so there's a population of cells, miniature humans in that caterpillar. And they were all working. The digestive cells were digesting, the muscle cells were moving the caterpillar around, all the cells were coordinating in a community to survive as a caterpillar. But when there was no more resources, there were no more jobs. And when there were no more jobs, the cells were out of work. And when they were out of work, the organization of that caterpillar collapses and it turns into a soup of unemployed cells. And so I say, in that cocoon, the caterpillar is breaking down and the cells are losing their jobs. And as a result, there's just a disorganization that appears going on. But in that organization, there are specialized cells. And I love it because the name is imaginal cells. It's not really designed from the word imagination. It was designed from the word imago, which means small version of an insect. And so the imaginal cells, the imago cells, they have a plan for the future. And I say, so what's happening? As the cells of the caterpillar are breaking down, the imaginal cells are guiding those cells into a new evolution, into the butterfly. And compared to the voracious appetite of appetite of the caterpillar, the butterfly has the lightest touch on the entire planet, hardly even touches the planet. And all of a sudden you say, oh my goodness, we went from the most voracious to the lightest touch. There was a cocoon and there was a transformation in that cocoon, this old structure falling apart and the new structure beginning to be formed. I say, this is exactly where the human civilization is right now. Our voracious appetite has eaten and destroyed our environment. Now what? We have to undergo a metamorphosis, civilization. I say, guess what? Well, the people are already losing their jobs. The system is falling apart. The organization is not the same as it was before. So the human caterpillar version of civilization is coming to an end. And we see this in the chaos in the world today. But then the beautiful part is there are imaginal cells. Elaine Parke is an imaginal cell. Steve Bhaerman is an imaginal cell. I said, why? What makes them imaginal cells? They have a vision for the future. I'll just close this very short answer to an even shorter question with an idea from Buckminster Fuller, the futurist. He said, you don't go into the civilization and try and change it. You step outside the civilization and build a new civilization. And this is exactly where we are. And this is exactly what's going on. So the idea when you look out the world, go, oh, it's crazy. I go, nope. It's in a process. It's in a deterministic plan. And we're going to be manifesting the butterfly equivalent of human civilization, wherein we live in harmony with nature without stomping it with our feet and destroying it. We can create the garden. And I love it because when Steve and I wrote the book, I love it because Steve came up with a beautiful insight and said, a garden is not a battleground. A garden is the height of cooperation. We came from a garden, we turned it into a battleground, and at this point, in order to sustain ourselves, we have to return back to the garden and start recognizing the underlying consequence of a garden: cooperation. And this is what we're moving toward right now. How do you get there? Spontaneous evolution gives some information. Elaine Parke drew out a whole damn thing. You want to play the game? Here are the rules. And that's why I'm so excited to be here with Steve and Elaine in this process, because these are my friends and they're imaginal cells, and they're helping us go.
Okay, so Elaine Parke, my colleague, has spent the past 30 years developing and cultivating these 12 habits of unity that I recognize as evolutionary practices. So given how much our behavior involves the unconscious mind, Bruce, comment about how organized intentional practice of positive habits, like the 12 habits, might speed up this process of conscious evolution.
Okay, well, the big word that you put in there was the word habit. And I go, what does that mean? Habit is a program of behavior. When we have habits, you push the button and the habit unfolds and plays out every time exactly the same. And we get these habits from our subconscious programming. And I go, subconscious, as soon as you say that, a lot of people go, "Ooh, subconscious, that's where all the evil comes from." I go, no, the subconscious is like a hard drive in our brain. It's got programs in it. Is the subconscious evil? I say, hell no, it's a hard drive. That hard drive isn't evil. Some of the programs might not be good, but the hard drive is great. I mean, think about this. When did you learn how to walk? Before you were 2. I say, you could be walk for 100 years. You could walk over 100 years old. And I say, from where did you get that program of how to walk? I learned it before I was 2. So habits can be very useful for us. Walking is great. What if you woke up every day and said, oh, I don't know how to walk? You spend the whole rest of the day try to remembering how to walk, and then the next morning repeat it again. And so the idea is there are good habits, but there are also habits that are not supporting us. So instead of unconsciously playing programs that sabotage us, what would be the consequence of playing programs that enhance our vitality and the world? I go, then our world will be enhanced, our vitality will be enhanced, and nature will be enhanced. How much work do you have to do? None. Because once it's in the program, it plays automatically without you even putting any effort in. So that's the beautiful part. It says, okay, this is not an ongoing lifetime process of learning and playing and all that. I go, once it's in that subconscious, it's automatic, 95% of the day. And if you put the kind of habits in that support you as an individual and support your community and support nature, if you put those programs in there, unconsciously, 95% of the day, you will be manifesting heaven on earth. And that's the bottom underlying thing. Is your world heaven on earth? Nope. I go, guess what? Quantum physics, most valid science, principle number 1, consciousness is creating your world experiences. Look at your world experiences. Are they what you want? Or do they recognize or represent your wishes and your desires, the world that you're living in right now? And I say, if not, then guess what? Your subconscious programs are sabotaging you. And they're sabotaging not just you, you're sabotaging the community in which you live. And then you're sabotaging the environment in which you live. So this is a wake-up call. The universe is saying, hey, humans, not sustainable, folks. You're going out the window. So you want to make a change? Start with the program, and the world will change with us.
Bruce, your most recent book is called The Honeymoon Effect, and it's about the science of creating heaven on earth by living it now. How could infusing a positive habit plan into our lives help us move toward conscious evolution? How do we create this new habit, and can practicing the habits of unity habituate the honeymoon effect?
Steve, the honeymoon effect to me is the most amazing thing because first, listen, my life, I had some really bad habits of relationship. I said, well, where'd you get the habits? Well, as we mentioned, in the first 7 years of a child's life, you download the habits by watching your parents, family, and community. And I watched, of course, my mother and father, and that was like my model of relationship. And I go, well, that was quite damn dysfunctional in the end. And what was I downloaded with? Subconscious, below conscious behaviors that were not supporting me, and they were working 95% of the time. And I say, well, then how come for 40 plus years of my life, I couldn't get a damn relationship off the ground? The answer was because 95% of the time I was playing the same behavior that downloaded what I got from my father, which was quite dysfunctional. And again, as we talked about, when you're playing those subconscious programs, you're the one that's unaware of them. And yet the other people you're trying to connect with, they're aware of those programs. So I was creating a dysfunctional relationship without any awareness, and those relationships don't get off the ground. So I had no good relationship until actually it was very important. One day, I was in the Caribbean. I had this great pickup line, like a guy's pickup line, the best one in the whole world. I go, what? I met this woman coming in from a yacht that was hanging out, and I thought, hey, a relationship possibility. Let's use the line. And the line was, hey, if you're not doing anything, I got this great villa over here on the coast, and it's right on the beach, and I got a cook, and the people take care of everything. We got a pool, and hang out with me in the Caribbean. I was offering that to see if I can get somebody to be a relationship. And she looked at me and she said, I can't be with you. And I, like, for a moment, huh? And she said, you're too needy. And I said, too needy? And, it's like, it caused me to think, I'm too needy. And I go, it was sort of like slap in your face. Oh, thank you. I needed that. And it woke me up to the fact that I said, I'm too needy. And I walked away from that. And I said, I have one of the best jobs in the world. I have more money in the pocket than I actually need. I live in the most beautiful environment. I got all these things. Why the hell am I needy? Oh, I need someone. I go, that was a program. And I realized, oh, that was the problem. I'm creating codependency. I'm looking for somebody to fulfill a program that doesn't support me, and that they would be my partner and fill that empty space where my program wasn't there. I walked away from that and I started to say, wait, I'm not looking for a relationship anymore. Because if I can't be happy with all the stuff that I got, then I'm not ready for a relationship. I had to change my habits. I had to look at the way I was living. And I started to recognize I can be happy with the things I got. And as I started to emphasize and play a pattern which becomes a habit, I said, I don't need anybody. I'm okay. I'm happy. And I am. I became happy. Guess what? The moment I became happy, then all of a sudden, all these potential partners showed up because now I wasn't that defect codependent guy anymore. I say, so what was heaven on earth to me at that point? I said, I got into a relationship. I said, for what? Because of the harmony and the beauty of it, not because of the need. And I say that we're all operating from programs that are dysfunctional. Mine happened to be that one. Yours could be a different one. I say, if it's dysfunctional, I said, your life is dysfunctional, not because of you, but because of your programming. I said, then what the hell was the honeymoon effect? And I said, what was that? I go, well, every day is blah, 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 blah. And then one day you meet this person, and 24 hours later, you're going, oh my God, I'm so in love. The world is beautiful. The food's great. The music's great. Even a crummy job, I'm in love. I go, how did you go from blah, blah, blah your whole life and then in 24 hours turn into heaven on earth? And the answer is amazing, because the answer was this: when you actually experience that love type experience, and it doesn't have to be with another person, it has to be with something that gives you so much joy that you just want to be there. It could be art, you could be a gardener, you could be a chef. I say, what is it? I say, you stop playing the programs when you stay conscious and present, being mindful. I said, wait a minute. That's very familiar. I said, what is it? The movie The Matrix is not science fiction. The movie The Matrix is a documentary. I said, what do you mean? This premise of the whole movie was everybody's been programmed. I go, well, that's a true story. We all got programmed for 7 years. And the emphasis of the story is you take a red pill, you get out of the program. And then I say, what happens then? I say, well, when you fell in love and you experienced what we call the honeymoon, which was the joy of living and happiness and love and just the experience of being on this beautiful planet. I said, what was it that actually changed your life from the blah, blah, blah? And I said, it was the equivalent of the red pill. As long as you stay mindful, you weren't thinking. And if you're not thinking, then your life is totally controlled by wishes and desires. Man, you manifested heaven. You know, manifesting heaven, that's here every day of your life for as long as you live on this planet. And I said, then why aren't you experiencing? And I say, because 95% of the day, the average person, they're playing the programs, they're not playing wishes and desires. And so I said, well, what was the honeymoon? Stop thinking, stay mindful, because then you don't default to any existing programs that you got. You are now the creator, manifester of the programs that will make you happy and joyful and healthy. And that's what love is all about. I go, so what do you mean I have to stay mindful my whole life? I say, that's really difficult. I don't think you can do that. I say, why not? Because life is too damn busy. You have jobs, responsibilities, things you have to take care of. You have a past you're dealing with and a future you're moving into, and you're thinking and you're thinking and you're thinking. I go, as much thinking as you're doing is as little as you're actually creating what you want. The more thinking, the more your program is manifesting. So I say, well, does that mean I can never think? I go, no, there's another resolution. And that resolution is what? Rewrite the programs in the subconscious mind, replace them with the defective programs that are sabotaging you, and put in the programs of harmony on this planet. And I'm not mentioning Elaine Parke, although she did write the 12 habits. I'm not mentioning her name because all of us are really having to learn how to deal with these 12 habits. It's a nature process. It's a universe process. And that we have to understand that if we want to live in harmony with life, then our behavior has to be in harmony with that life. If you're not in harmony, then that's where you struggle in your life. And if you want, you can change the program. And then I go, well, that's always been a bitch. I go, why? Because a lot of people think, well, hey, I'll be somebody different. I'm going to talk to myself. I'll give myself a good talking to, get rid of those bad habits and put some new ones in there. I go, biggest problem in the world. There's nobody in the subconscious. I say, you're talking to subconscious. I say, who are you talking to? I say, there's nobody in there. It's a device. It's a hard drive. I say, oh, you want to change the program? You have to learn to push the record button. And there's a process to do the record button. And this process involves, there are several different ways of doing that. Number one, we'll get back into the theta brain state. That was where the programs were directly downloaded just by observing the world. I go, this is a way of getting there. It's called self-hypnosis. Put a pair of earphones on when you go to bed, because the moment consciousness goes to sleep, the next activity of the brain is theta. The subconscious is open. I go, so if you put programs playing through your earphones that are things that you want, health, happiness, relationship, money, whatever, and you're playing those programs, the moment you fall asleep, your conscious mind doesn't hear these programs. It's sleeping. The subconscious mind is downloading. This is called self-hypnosis. And you repeat this at night, play those programs, and one day you wake up and guess what? While you were sleeping, you were reprogramming the whole darn thing. And you can wake up at some point after repeating this, and all of a sudden you are now manifesting a new life. That's how you learned in the first 7 years of program. Well, actually for the first 7 years, but you also got new programs after age 7. You learned how to drive a car. You learned your job. You learned how to play a music instrument. I go, these can become habit. And the relevance, okay, then I say, then exercise a new habit.